What's up, everybody? Patrick LaRouge here from Evolve Restorative Therapy. You can find me at livepainfreeprocess.com. I'm a pain-free concierge that gets people to balance out their lives so they can live and move pain-free, reaching the best version of them possible. All based off of feeling, getting connected to yourself, and harmonizing and balancing everything that needs to be balanced. We've been talking about all this month, the starting point, and how we are behind the gate in the aspect of what we're doing because our starting point was off. So I'm reallocating how we're doing all of our starting points and getting you to realize. First, I told you about that. Then I told you about the concept of how do we balance out the brain by doing more movement, and more movement in the posterior chain is going to be key. Now we're going to start taking apart the little details of it, right? The details of what we're doing. And the first things first is the concept of you got to breathe to relax. You got to breathe, man. And that, in essence, has a twofold process to it. So I talked about the antagonist muscle that works with it. There's always a two-set muscle. Every muscle has a counterpart, right? So the bicep is the tricep and vice versa to make things move. So one always elicits the fight or flight mechanism. One always brings you back into a balanced state and has more associated with the rest and relaxation part of the central nervous system. So now we're going to talk about everyone's freaking out. And what do we say? Breathe, dude. Take a deep breath, man. Take a deep breath. And that is great in nature because if you do that well enough, you do calm down because the system that you're working gets your central nervous system, your heart rate, everything to spool down. It gets you out of chest breathing and into diaphragmic breathing. Now, I said a key word there, diaphragmic breathing. Everyone understands that. Now we have to take apart that. What is the starting point for that? What are the muscle tissues associated with? Your diaphragm. Let's get some grossness out. This human body. As you can see, it's asymmetrical. You see the heart higher to the left, your liver low into the right, all this guts here, and it propels digestion when you breathe. You breathe. One lobe on your heart side, the heart side of your muscle, has 2 lobes of your lung. The other side has 3. So when you take a deep breath, it projects more down into, I said that vice versa. Your heart side has 3 lobes. Your liver, because of your liver position, the other one has 2, so it doesn't project as far down, which then projects digestion as you breathe, as you move, so on and so forth. This is your diaphragm itself, right? I'm giving you a big figure. We're going to be talking about the hip flexor soon enough, but as you breathe, you drop down. So when you take a breath in and out, your diaphragm drops down, pulls up. Drops down. So when you take a big deep breath in, your diaphragm comes down into your belly. So your belly projects up. Diaphragmic breathing. And that's the only thing people focus on. But when you think about your diaphragm, what electrical patterns go up? The diaphragm. This is what blew my mind. The diaphragm has more more electrical current that lights up in your posterior part of your brain, in your fight or flight mechanism of your brain. Now, what's the counterpart? It's your transverse abdominal. So when you blow your air out, that's what is eliciting the calmness. So we need to just shift our small little focus from take a deep breath in to blow your air out. The more you can learn how to blow your air out and bring your belly button to your spine and contract that transverse abdominal, the more you're feeding the rest and relaxation portion of your body. That's going to be the key, is feeding that consistently so it can compete with everything else. They're a unit. There's always yin and yang. There's always a counterpart to something. That's how your body is functioning. That's the asymmetry working to become a unit. And that's how we do it. We just keep on messing up because we hyper-focus on things. We focus on one area of the body consistently, and that's what's getting us in trouble. We have to stop doing that. We have to stop thinking it's all even and start thinking that it's always adapting. We have to feed that adaptation rather than taking something out. So I want you to change your thought process of how you relax into the concept of blowing your air out, blowing it out. And when you blow out, be careful, because the natural concept is to use your abdominals rather than your transverse abdominal. As it brings you down, it swallows you up. Like, it brings all the air out. That's going to be the component. And there's a lot of things that I do throughout my practice that teach you about your transverse abdominal. You can't see it, right? Bringing it in. That's going to solidify your core. Once your core solidifies, that's when the glue sticks, and now you can actually do movement-based pattern, because now everything is solidified, and that's a whole nother ball game. So what I want you guys to really focus on this week is the concept of, how do I breathe? How do I relax? Where am I feeding? I want to calm down. Breathe out. Focus on breathing out. Until next week, people. Peace.